You don't want to know. All right, now what we were talking about superfoods, let's get on that. Was it maca? Where were
calcium.
Is lettuce going to be enough to get it out? Are superfoods going to be enough? This is where we get into the next piece after the superfoods, which is the most powerful herbs in the world. This is where we get into using the technology that we have today, right? Like technology like this. Every superhero must have one of these. You know what that is? It's a zapper. What is it able to do? Let's say I broke my finger, which I did, my left middle finger right there. I started getting little gunky stuff in the joint. Your joints aren't vascularized. There's no blood flow into the joint. How many people know that? That's why viruses, all these kinds of things, rheumatoid arthritis, get into the joint because they can't be hit by your immune system. Well, these organisms have an intelligence, and when you have an injury, they ride on the thrombin, the blood clotting molecule, to the site of the injury and go, we're home. This is where we can hang out. We're not going to have any problems here. Look at all the inflammation, all the problems. They're putting out 10 fires over here. We can hang out in this corner over here. And eventually that injury becomes problematic, and it's not vascularized, and suddenly we start having problems with the joint. And what we figured out is that electricity can actually go right through that joint, even though blood can't. And that's what this little thing does. It sends an electrical current right through the joint or whatever. Let's say you have psoriasis. Boom, goes right on the psoriasis. Let's say you have a problem with chronic fatigue syndrome. You put it right here under your belly button, and it hits your entire aorta and all your blood going through your whole system, rejuvenates your whole blood because it fries on a frequency that those guys don't like, or makes a sound. And that's part of the program. So what we've done is we've kind of taken all that medical research and we've combined it with all the stuff that I'm into and that we know in this community and that we've been developing for years, along with this little advance on Hulda Clark's technology. And we're going to advance this one to the next level because what's in here is a 555 switch processor which flips it on and off. It makes the sound on and off 32,000 times a second. If we get that into the gigahertz range, which is what a cell phone is, which we have that technology right now to create this right now, goes right there in your belt buckle like this. It's like somebody asks you what it is at an airport, just tell them it's my pager. Just like that, sits right there, it just touches your skin. We get a gigahertz processor in there, it flips that thing on and off 1 billion times per second, and then we're knocking out those guys fast, really fast. Now we have technology to go days. Now look at that whole approach. There's a little bit of electronics involved. There's a little bit of herbalism involved. And then what was discovered is all these things we know about raw food nutrition. Enzymes, the power of vitamin C botanicals like camu berry powder, the power of certain vitamins like vitamin B3 to flush and open our system to allow all the goodies in there. All these little tricks suddenly become useful strategically towards a specific goal, which is to drive all of that calcification out forever. Is that of interest to anybody? We don't care, huh? Okay, so superfoods. What? Nobody here wants any lunch. I mean, what if we didn't know there was calcium? What if there's calcium-forming particles in the lunch? We didn't know because we didn't get the last bit of the lecture.
It's lunchtime.
Anybody hungry? Who's hungry?
No.
Oh, nice. Who likes chocolate here? All right. We'll keep you close. I got a few other goodies up here. I generally favor the people who are right in the front and the people right down the center, because studies have shown that those are the people who are really committed to the information. Fascinating. And so I usually reward them. Calcium-forming particles, strategic. What's happening? I love you as well. I would love you even more if you were right here. Look at that. See, she's smart. Right? She's going to get the next gift. You just won this book right here. See that?
Sorry.
That is for you. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Here's what was discovered. That there is a way, a strategy of driving this stuff out, and it's more important to get on with this strategy the older you are, because the more times you've been around the sun, the more this stuff has geometrically progressed inside of you. It doesn't just affect one organism, it's affecting your whole biology. It's just usually where there's been an injury, this stuff has advanced a little bit further and is causing more problems. The first step to getting this stuff out is to dissolve the shells off of those calcium oyster-forming coral-like barnacles.
Ow!
That's what we're going to do. There's 4 things that have been found to be effective to do this. The one that has the most research behind it, the most history behind it, 150 years of research proving that it actually does do this, is DMSO. Dimethyl sulfoxide. Wow. DMSO. DMSO was discovered, or actually, let me rephrase that. DMSO was rediscovered by a Ukrainian scientist in the 1860s. But it had been known to all the ancient alchemists before. Because if you ever study any alchemical literature, which is not just some metaphor for enlightenment and ascension, which is, you know, people buy that. I don't buy that at all. It's actually a science. And it's arcane, but it is in there. And you will find that there's this thing about sulfur, alchemical sulfur. DMSO is alchemical sulfur. And wherever you have a bursitis, what's bursitis? Inflammation of the joint, bone spurs. What's that?
Calcification. Arthritis.
That DMSO fries it right back. When somebody has eczema or psoriasis chronic, somebody in this audience does, I know it. And you'll hear something here that will help you tremendously. You get the sulfur, the DMSO on top of there, and what happens is you start getting softer skin, and the calcium forming component that holds or roots the virus or the fungus to the skin starts going away, and pretty soon the eczema or psoriasis starts going away. It softens the calcification up and allows the jelly blob that's on the inside. It's like a snail. You ever seen a snail? It has a shell on it. We got to get that shell off, and then maybe we can fry that little slug out of there. How many people want slugs in their intestines? Is anybody here who has slugs in their intestines? Of course not. That's them over there. DMSO has an enormous history in this regard. When DMSO was first oxidized about 40, 50 years ago to create methyl sulfonylmethane, otherwise known as MSM, and you will still find that I'm still a fan of MSM after all these years, it was discovered that it had the same properties. That it breaks up calcification, making you younger. Who here wants to get younger? It takes a long time to become younger. Let me tell you something. Joy is serious business. You got to have the right approach. MSM is one of those things you got to kind of choke it down, and I've done it to the point where I was like, if I even look at this stuff again, I'm going to puke. And then I got into like the V caps, you know, and that would take me for a while, and now I go on and off with it because I've done it so much over the years. I've kind of decalcified myself to a pretty significant degree, and now I'm in a different boat. However, now we have 2 tools on this frying of the calcium off. DMSO, MSM are known to work and do that trick. Here's another one. EDTA, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid. What's that? Chelation. Chelation therapy. Oral chelation has been found to be ineffective. It either has to be IV or it has to be rectal. Suppository. How many people here use suppositories? Man, you guys are brave. Some people raising their hand. Only at a food lecture you get something like that. How many people have no idea what a suppository is? How many people don't want to know?